Oh hey, I was just scraping off some of this old gasket material. I've been rebuilding this old Honda Passport 3.2 liter V6. It's got dual overhead cams, all aluminum, mated to a 5-speed manual, high-low transfer case, 4-wheel drive of course. And definitely got some lessons learned to share, but I wouldn't recommend you do it the way I do it. Really just getting used to the whole rebuilding process. I didn't want to start with something actually valuable, so I started with the Honda Passport. This is my first time. Anyway, we've been working on it for a while now. And like I said, I wouldn't recommend you do it my way. But you can watch. It's been a good time. Mostly. Except for how bad I'm realizing everything is. There's good and bad. Potentially more good than bad so far. This side's looking real good. Time has come to tear this thing down. Got her on the engine stand. I got a nice work surface over here. Put parts on. I got a nice work surface over here with my tools. I'm gonna list everything I remove in order, and I'm gonna build it all back. New gaskets. It's gonna be awesome. Now back to your regularly scheduled time lapse. Head bolts. Hope they're not too tight. Another thing to note here, these 4 center camshafts have these reliefs in them. I couldn't imagine what they were before until I started trying to take the head off, and now I know they're to get a socket down there and guide a socket into the stud location. They don't have them on the ends, but make sure you line up the head so that these reliefs allow you to get the socket in place. I'm gonna start here. Shoot. Quarter turn at a time. Oh my god. Tighten this. Now I unloaded all that stress onto that bolt. It made it too tight. Oh yeah, idiot. Fucked up. It's really not good. That's really bad. That's bad. Well, I had a bit of a panic attack here because these two bolts here, the heads were, just slightly stripped. And so I was cranking on them a couple of times with my other, less leverage, and I kind of felt the roundness coming, and I just panicked a little. Anyway, the spider coming down. What I did here was I just wrapped the end of this in masking tape. This is a number 10. And I just set it on top of there. I got it lined up with my light and I set it on top there and I gave it a couple of good smacks with my hammer to get it just smushed down in there. And then I used the long breaker bar and I was able to get these two with questionable heads loose. I think I'm gonna do the masking tape trick for the rest of them just to be safe. Hopefully they all come out without me having to screw this up, because the whole point of this was for me to not have to take it to a shop, because that costs a ton of money that I don't have, and I want a refreshed non-leaky passport. Is that too much to ask? So I wanted to do it all myself, and if I had to strip these head bolts out, I'd be in real trouble when it comes to that goal. So this masking tape trick seems to be working. Definitely some extra time, but maybe I'll film the next one I break loose for you. I just take this, get a little off, stick it on there, try to get it nice and straight, get it till it meets, and that one or two. Take my light, line it up. That in there nice and tight. Get it from two angles. Put my gloves back on for this. Here. And if we hit the tripod. Oh jeez. Just a couple each one. Yeah, look at that. It rips off right where I smacked it in. Let's see if I can get the next one, because these ones don't look like they're in as bad a shape. I don't know if they're supposed to be that tight, but they're freaking tight. Maybe I'll go back over. That one right there. That's good news. That's good news. Back to the first one. That is such good news. I was so worried there for a second. Quarter turn. Alright, well, I'm real happy that I was able to get all those broken loose and they're all finger tight now. Definitely follow the break loose and tightening torque procedure. I think, had I just started taking bolts out, all the torque would have got transferred to the last bolt or one of the bolts next door, and I wouldn't have been able to get it off without rounding it. So definitely take your time. Move each one a little bit until they're easy to turn, and that'll keep you from transferring all your torque to one bolt. Save you some headaches. I almost did it. I took these two out more than I was supposed to. I mean, I broke them all loose and then I just started taking them out, and even that wasn't enough. So you gotta go around nice and easy. Well, let's get a look here. Cylinder head is off. Valves were looking pretty gunked up, but not too bad. This one is looking a little moist. I don't know, any one of these I could have gotten a little water into with the pressure washer, but let's look at the cylinders themselves. Definitely still see the cross hatching. However, there's some score marks there that I'm not too happy about. Some score marks there and some score marks there. I can't actually feel any of them. And I'll have to cycle this thing all the way, but probably be a good idea to do the rings. At least. However, I'd really like to get away without, so I'm just gonna clean this up real good for now. And I'm gonna get this head off, see what it looks like. Alright, so lessons learned already from the other head. These ones don't look nearly as gunky, but run a 4-ox wipe or something in the heads of all these nuts. These ones all look really good. Still gonna do middle out. I might go across right here first. But yeah, it's looking real good. This head, we'll get this one off. I want to show you this trick to keep the grip on these Allen bolts. Cut this old one off. Give it a wipe clean. Need about that much tape. Stick it on there. Try to line it up. So now the end is wrapped. You can get it on your stud. Get it at the angle you want it. I want mine right about there. Use a rubber tipped hammer. Just get it to sit down on the bolt head with the masking tape in between. And then with any luck, you should be able to break that thing loose. I'm gonna move you a little. You're right in the way. How's that? Stick my leverager. Oh yeah. And I've been that's this my 3rd time around, just breaking them about that much. See, this is what it looks like when you're done. You can see this one it didn't almost do very much. But I think just that little bit helps it get enough grip to not strip the Allen head. Or at least do a better job to not strip the Allen head. Hope that helps. There was a decent amount of water in there still, but cross hatches. Oh jeez, I need that still. They're draining. She's got cross hatches still. A little carbonated, but we'll clean her off. Scrape off these old gaskets. Get the oil pan off right now. So I don't have some kind of fancy high torque impact driver. But what I do have is this old kit that I've had since basically high school, I think. And it's got this handy pocket. It's filled with anything I might need, socket-wise. And I got this one. It's a little extender. Since I don't have a high torque impact driver to do this for me, I gotta go around and break all these loose by hand. To just make my life a little easier, I accumulated one of these. It's a generic breaker bar. Honestly, I'm pretty sure it's just a piece of pipe. You know, I stick this in there like that. If anyone wants to buy me a high torque, electronically controlled impact driver, I wouldn't not take it. Oh yeah, we got a rounded one out right there. It's not good. I also got this old bag. It's been holding my tools for 10 years now, and within this bag I have an entire metric Allen key set. And by darn it, there it is. The most inconvenient bag. That was a number 5. This one, which was blocked. Good. This one, which is blocked. Oh yeah. She'll come out. This one, which is blocked. Get my generic breaker bar out. Oh yeah. Oh geez. Sometimes I don't understand like how you even get it that tight. I think the only one we weren't able to break loose is this one right here. So what I gotta do now is break it loose. Please. I beg you, just come out. You'll like it better out here. Look. Not even close. Dang it, how do I get that out of there? Well, I actually didn't think this would even work, so I didn't get it on film, but I got one of these extractor kits with this hand cranker, and you know what, it drilled itself in there pretty good, and I was able to just slowly twist on this thing, and she finally broke loose, so I don't have to cut any grooves or nothing in there. We can get this oil pan off. Something as simple as an oil pan, you know. This bolt would have given us a ton of headaches. These ones here were, you know, underneath, hard to get to, Allen keys. Now that we got those all broken loose and we got our problem screws out, we can go ahead and just zip the rest of these on out. I like to beat it up a little. So I was able to get that last bolt out finally in the worst possible spot, and I was able to get this block of wood in up underneath like that, and I was able to pound it out. This would have been really hard with this engine still in the vehicle, but glad we got it off. Tire removal tool for my dirt bike. I got this old t-shirt material wedged up in there, and I walked it around and got the rear pan unstuck. There she goes. Now I want to be careful not to mess up. Oh my goodness, there's junk in there. I gotta be careful not to bend that. It seems like just another thing we're gonna have to maybe replace. Would you look at that? It's actually not incredibly dirty, but whoever did this gasket material, it went friggin' nuts, and it didn't even help because it was blown out. Alright, that is good news. We're all the way down to the short block now. Whoever did this last gasket kit went a little overboard on the RTV. There's a whole bunch in the pickup. Yeah, there's probably more stuff in there, but everything in there, everything else in there is looking pretty good. Ready to clean up a little and seal her back up. Hopefully it stays sealed this time. I'm honestly amazed how much material is coming out of here. All gasket material. This whole thing was basically plugged. It's crazy. Probably better ways to do this. Alright, I just took a razor blade and went along, got all the old gasket material off, tried not to gouge it too much. Definitely a learning curve. Started off pretty shitty, got better as I went. And it's all looking real clean now. We'll flip her over and do the head gasket side. Just a regular old blade like this. Going over nice and light all the way around. Try to line these two up and just nice and easy. Keep it smooth, don't let it stick and gouge anything. This is aluminum, this is steel, so I'm less worried about the steel. But we gotta get it all cleaned up. I'm gonna go all the way around. This is what the old block to head interface that I haven't scraped yet looks like, and that's what the one I just scraped looks like now. This was just kind of a once over, using compressed air to kind of blow the chunks out as I go. Yeah, it cleaned up pretty good. So I got the cylinder head up on the bench here, and I'm just going around and giving this gasket surface here a good scrape. And if I feel any metal chunks with the edge of my razor, I go through, just give it a real light, fine file. Try to get this thing as flat as possible without taking it to a machine shop. That's the goal anyway. This razor works pretty good if I'm being honest. But there was so much gunk on this thing, it was unbelievable. I've been cleaning gunk off for hours. But yeah, you're trying not to let your razor catch. The razor's steel. This head is aluminum. And I know that steel will gouge aluminum pretty easy, so don't want to let this catch. You just want to let it glide across the top real easy and get any old gasket material or grit or grime that's built up on there and get it to be nice and smooth with the razor, because if this is smooth and not rough, you know, it's gonna be real smooth up against the gasket material and hopefully keep you a good seal for longer. Sometimes you think you're gouging it, but you're really gouging some of the gunk that's on the surface. Definitely had a bit of a high spot here from when someone tried to pry on this thing, assuming to get the valve cover off. You don't have to try that hard, but they did. And now I'm gonna just file it back flat. That's all. Alright, just for comparison's sake here, here's the head that I haven't cleaned up yet. Here's the gasket mating surface. Obviously leaking here. Oh, blown out. No gouges, you know, valves are all working the way that they should. This is the dirty, pre-scraped. And then, so this is what it looks like after I just go over it with a razor blade. You know, you get it pretty smooth with a razor blade. And if there were any nicks, I filed them, but there weren't any nicks on the head. Anywho, I just wanted to show you what it looked like, you know, unscraped versus scraped. And we're gonna figure out a way to clean up these dishes still. Because my oil pickup tube was so full of junk, I really want to get it off. Try to run something through it to get the rest of all the junk out. I've already got it pretty good, but I know there's more junk up in there. So this oil passage, maybe this is the oil passage that oils the main bearings. This has a couple of O-rings. They look to be in pretty good shape. I'm not gonna mess with them. Now we can get this oil pickup tube off. So I just put this thing back. I got the pickup tube out. Set it over in the pile to be cleaned. Next thing, I think I'm gonna move over to the water pump. I know that needs to come off anyway. It's got this pulley with it. I gotta go look at my replacement and see if it comes with that pulley. This one, I don't know. It's not loose or nothing, but it's riding a little rough. This one, the tensioner pulley seems good. Looking down the cylinder head, we're hitting it with this 2000 grit. I got it tilted on its side a little here so that we're letting gravity get this stuff down. Oh man, it already feels so much better. Wow. Okay, so I ran it this way twice already. I'm gonna run it this way, and this doesn't fit all the way around. So I'm gonna get on there nice and flat. Just run it nice and easy. Actually doing something more than I expected. I got the studs here right on the edge of my cardboard, and I'm walking the cardboard up to the edge of the table. I can get at it from all directions now. That feels so much better. It was already pretty flat, so wow. I'm gonna do it a couple more times and probably get the next one. So now I'm going on around these intakes. I got 1500 on my little bit smaller sander here. And I'm just giving them a light cover. And with this, I already got them scraped with my steel razor blade. They're already pretty clean. I really just cleans them up nice, gives them a nice polish, smooth to the touch. And you can see it's taking some high points off. I think it's helping. Gonna do this intake set also. It'll be a little more tricky with those studs in the way though. Clear up this block for small box. As good as those are gonna get. So after the gasket clean with the steel razor blade, there's gonna be stuff left. Old gasket or gasket maker material. So I got going on here is this Scotch-Brite pad or whatever. You know what these are. And I'm hitting it just a little bit of brake cleaner here. Trying to get any old gasket material off. Because it's there still. It's coming. Look, it's looking real nice. Alright, so now I'm just going around with this 2000 grit on my compact sander. And I'm giving it a nice once over. Trying to keep it all nice and flat. Oh yeah, it's looking real nice. Looks to me like this has little bite marks built in, so I'm not gonna run the sander on there. This side still needs a cleaning, and we'll get the Scotch-Brite on that one too. And I got some scour marks here, so from when I razor bladed it, you can see here, this edge was lifted with a pry bar or something, and I took that off with a file first. So now I'm gonna go across and sand this one and see if we can get these scour marks off or not. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it is a new day in the shop. We got the gasket surfaces scraped clean already. All of them took forever, nice and smooth. So now, today's goal is to get all this grit and grime and crust out of the combustion chambers on the cylinder heads and get all this carbonated stuff off the piston tops. Get this thing looking fresh. Did a little Legit Street Cars YouTube video watching, and he showed us some tricks. I'll link to his video down below. She's looking real good. We know that this thing was a runner and that it had good compression. Check back to it might have been episode 2, where I checked the compression. We'll get everything cleaned up today. Alright, so I was able to get this head all cleaned up, looking pretty good. You know, it ain't perfect, but in the process, I've gained a couple good lessons learned. I'll show you how I did it. Gotta get a quick look at the old one. I'm gonna put this head away since it's done. And I'm gonna show you on the next one what I did. Alright, so if you're in the mood to clean one of these heads up, couple of things you'll want to know. You can open the valves just about like this. This thing like clocks, so you push and they open, or you can shut them all in between. Rotate around, the different valves will open and close. But I had a couple of high spots where someone tried to wedge something in between here and gummed it up. So I went around with my flat file and I just gave it a quick go around and clean all your valves. Combustion chambers, your intake valves, and your exhaust valves. They're the next dirtiest. If you can get your valves cleaned up, now's the time. Spend the time to clean them. So I'm gonna start with the exhaust valves because I know they're the dirtiest. There's the exhaust valves right there. See, I was already scraping on that one. I got a bunch of gunk out. There were some really big chunks in here that were just much easier to get off with just a little scrapage. So that's what I'm gonna do first. This one doesn't seem to be quite as bad as the other head. The other head had just full-on, caked-on chunks. Let's probably have some down in there. My light. There's some chunkage. And you know, if you're getting down to bare metal, like you can see some shininess, whatever. It's better than what you got right now. And if you're not gonna take this thing completely apart and take it to a machine shop or do it yourself, even then it's still really hard. I'm gonna take my chances here and try to just get this cleaned up as best as I can on my own. I think that's a good start there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these valves open. Actually, I'm gonna scrape all of them. I'll update you. All right, I gave all 3 of them a good scraping. I use this round side probably more than the sharp side, but if anything was getting hard on me, I turned it around and used this sharp side. So anywhere where you get the chunk started to come off, it'll come off a lot better when you run the Scotch-Brite pad down in there. Anyway, I flipped her over. Look at all this junk that came out of just this one. Now I'm gonna stick this in here. You wanna be careful with the valve seat surface, but any big chunks you can feel they're right around the valve. It's good to get them out now. And I'm gonna go around each one of these exhaust valves and get any chunks around the valve seat out of the way. So once I go around and scrape the ports as best as I can, run your scraper down the back side of the valve, all the way down in there. And you want to get as much gunk as you can off that side of the valve too. It's really easy to get in here. It's harder to get back there. And it's hard to see, so you really want to have those valves open when you're getting on the back side. So I'm going to spin this around one more time and do each valve. Get the back side. These ones open now. Yeah, and if you look, I mean, I know you can't see down in there, but there's chunks of just grit, soot, carbon, whatever. You really want to run this down the back side there and get any of those big chunks. Anything you can get right now with this scraper. Advantageous for later. Alright, so now that I've given the exhaust chamber, port, whatever, a nice scrape, and then I went around and scraped all the edges around the valves on trying to get on the inside of the ports. Now we're going to try and get these valves themselves cleaned up. Get some of that junk out of there for now, so you don't have too much of that going on the valves. Alright, so now I'm going to hit these valves with this brush. If there's any scrapage I can get on them and get some chunks off with this, I'll try, but honestly, this stuff that's on here on the exhaust valve is stubborn. It's really hard to get off, so I'm going to go ahead and hit it with this wire wheel stripper, and try to see if we can get it off. You'll probably want to use some of this, but it won't hardly help. I'm gonna get my safety glasses. Faster speed. Hit these while they're poked out a little. It just doesn't want to come off. Yeah, so that stuff seems to me like it's just baked on there. I tried forever to get it on the stuff off the other one, and I had to give up. I couldn't get it totally clean. So it worked. This worked a little to smooth it all out and to get the most of it off, but trying to get all this is going to be damn near impossible. You might have a better wire wheel or something to get this off, but anywho, you might have better luck than me with that, but I could not. That's just clean as, I don't even care. It's as clean as I'm gonna get it. Maybe the degreaser will work a little better. I went nuts on those two. I don't know how well you can see, but if I just kept going, right, seems to be polishing up, but I don't even know what this is, but it is tough. Keep going. Start on the next ones. So now I'm gonna go ahead and give these combustion chambers a scrub. I've had the oven cleaner on them for a while now. So we're gonna just get through. Oh, I splattered myself right in the freaking face. Look at that. It's definitely working. I squirted another oven cleaner shot down in there. This stuff seems to be dissolving pretty good. This is gonna be a mess here. See what that looks like. That's pretty good. So now we'll hit it up one more time here. Let that sit. The next thing we're gonna get into are these exhaust ports now. They are filthy. And the way that we're gonna do it is with the Scotch-Brite pad. And this is just a regular old pair of tweezers. And I'll show you what I do with this stuff. So I get the tweezers up around the Scotch-Brite pad, and then I get this up over that. And I give it a tighten. Probably not as tight as I'd like it, but let me get that wrapped around there. And I'm gonna open the valve. And we're starting with these. Just get it on in there. That gets in there real good. Yeah. So, you know, wrap the Scotch-Brite pad up around there, and then what you can do then is spin it around the other way, and you get a new fresh one. This one ain't that fresh, but... And that looks real good. So the way that we get the remaining amount in these valves is we get this little kind of longer piece here, and we get it wrapped up around the valve there. Give it a spin. Try to get it tucked in there as best as you can. Spin it around. You can see it in there. And then one way to get up a little higher on the wall, spin it around this way. Just shove it in there. But I think the main thing you're getting here is the seat. It'd be nice if I could get up on that back wall there. It's looking pretty good. Gotta do that for each valve. There's a bunch of them, but we'll have this thing looking pretty good in no time. One, I don't know how well you can see in there, but just compared to this one is gooked. Alright, so I got those exhaust valves looking about as good as I'm gonna get them. These combustion chambers are all cleaned up, brush and some purple degreaser. And now, since these intake valves weren't very bad, I'm gonna move on to the intake valves. Make sure you do those second, so you don't blow them out with all the grease you get out of these ones. So now that the exhaust valves are nice and clean as I care to get them, we're gonna pop each of these out, and we're gonna hit them with the wire brush, same that we did with these exhaust valves. Trying to make something that'll fit inside of these pathways. So these intake valves are in, you know, there's not as much baked on. They don't get as hot, I'd guess, so. There they are. Whoa. Yeah, this brush makes quick work of the gunk that's on there. Oh yeah, looking real good. One more. Well, we got this thing pretty well cleaned up. Oh yeah, nice and clean. Looking real nice. Couldn't get it all down there closer to the valves, but you know, rinsed this whole thing out with brake clean, which I know got the oil off of the cam lobes. However, I went around with my little oiler, went around and just bloop 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 on all the cams and even on their pads that it came off of. Alright, well here's the first. Got the wax string around the piston. I got the foam gasket in the water jackets and the oil holes. I got it turned over on the engine stand so that the gunk drips out. And I'm letting that cook for about 3 minutes. I'm gonna scrub it off. I need something good to wipe it with. Probably just a rag. So I just gave it a scrub and a second spray. You can really see that oven cleaner bubbling. My wax string over here didn't quite make it all the way, but that's okay. Keeping most of it out. I put oil all in the cylinder edges right before I did all this, just to get it all filled with oil. That'll help also keep the dirt from getting stuck in the rings, I guess. I don't know. We'll give this one more scrub and then a wipe, and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so that's after one coat with the oven cleaner, barbecue cleaner. What is that stuff? Easy Off oven and grill cleaner. That's what's left. That last little bit is always the hardest to get off. It sucks. That's what it looked like before. So looking pretty good. The gasket material I think is doing a good job blocking any of the dirt from getting into the water jackets. I'm gonna give that a little bit more scuff pad with degreaser. Try to get the most of this last little bit off. Alright, so there's the one I just did. Look how good it looks. Here's the one I haven't done yet. Yeah. Here's the one I just did. I don't have it in me to go all the way and get everything in the corners there, so fuck it, whatever. I just got it at the bottom now. It doesn't seem to be leaving any material or gorging. When I first pulled it down after cleaning it, I wiped the cylinder wall and then I let it go down a little further and wipe the cylinder wall. And right now I'm gonna lube it up and give it some cycles up and down and move on to the next one. There's engine oil in here, and I go ahead and just get this in the cylinder wall and I give it a spin and a squeeze and I get it running up and down nice and even like. And now I can cycle the piston up and down without worrying about it being gummed up with the rings. The Legit Street Cars guy recommends you put some wax string in the crevices between your piston and the piston walls. You know, if you're gonna clean these, you don't want anything clogging up your rings while you're doing it or after you're doing it. And he said to use wax string, but then he said it's essentially like tooth floss. So I was like, well, I already got tooth floss. I don't need to go out and get wax string. So I'm trying to use regular floss, minty stuff. And you know, the first time I tried to get it in, it was a little too, like flat and not round. Anyway, I doubled it up, put one end on my drill, and spun it up so that it became kind of more round and a little more substance with two of them. It seems to be working real good. I'm getting it tucked in there. Technique where I just kind of turn my wrist over like that a little. Get it tucked in there. I had it tucked in the first cylinder that I did, but it fell out. And there was one side that was pretty weak. And I'm hoping to get this in a little better so it doesn't come out. I'm just gonna work this around. Screwdriver seems to be working real good. That's all you need to know. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time, where I'll be on the next piston. Well, it wasn't until the third piston that I actually got the wax string to stay in the whole time. I got this one cleaned up real good. Every time I do it, I get a little better. So I'm gonna pull this string. I figured I'd let you be here for it. Ooh, pulling all the gunk out with it. Yep, I'll give her a crank. Go about that far and wipe the gunk out of it. And then go a little more. Wipe any more gunk or cleaner or detergent. Anything that's gonna get busy with the oil. You don't want it in there. So you got this ring, this carbon ring around the lip still. Let it go all the way to the bottom now. Give it one more wipe around. That's looking good. I'm gonna scrub off this ring here so it looks like the rest of these. Nice and clean. And we'll be done for today. Well, that's all for today's episode. Consider checking out some of my previous episodes. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing so you can join us next time, where we get this thing put back together with all new gaskets and seals. Thanks for joining us.